Everybody is screaming, release these fucking files. We want to know what is going on. We want to know.
What will we find out if they were all released? Anything we didn't know?
Honestly, I have no idea. Is it the end of the fucking country? Like, is it really that bad?
C.S. Lewis has this. Well, I have tons of opinions on the subject. I don't have, concrete proof. But of course, I think I know. But C.S. Lewis has this. I think it was C.S. Lewis has this essay in which he says, people debate, was Jesus really God or whatever. If Jesus came back to Earth tomorrow and held a press conference, like a week later, people would be talking about something else. It's like, we actually know what's true. We know what's true. And the way that dogs know what's true, you can't reason with a dog. The dog can smell it. And he sticks with his opinion because he has no other input. If you hate a dog, you can't talk your way out of it. The dog knows you hate the dog because dogs have unerring instincts, and so do we. And so, of course, we know exactly what the Epstein story is about. It's about the deep corruption of global leadership, of course. And you can say it's about Israel, it's about the CIA. Well, it's about, is there a distinction, really? Not just between Israel and, Mossad and CIA, but about the British government or really kind of any government or any, Bill Gates or Leon Black. It's all kind of varieties of the same thing. It's corrupt leadership that is acting on its own behalf against the interests of the people they lead. It's the oldest story there is. It's the Pharisees. And if we're honest, we already know that. So, I'm completely for disclosure of everything, but I don't lie to myself and say that disclosure would change human nature, because it won't. And people have an opportunity to exploit others, generally will. And the rest of us need to fight daily against that, not because we're going to win in the short term, but because it is our duty and to serve what's good and true, period, even if we're killed doing it. So I don't know. I won't stop pushing for disclosure. I really believe that. Trust is built on honesty. It's not built on lies, ever.
You say, does it change? I can't remember your exact verbiage, but we were talking about, when this gets exposed, does it change anything? No, this is the nature of man. This is what happens. But
we already know the answer.
Men need to be reset. And men have not been fucking reset, not in this country, for a long time.
That's coming whether we want it or not. We don't want it, but it's coming.
And
all this shit about women don't need men. You've obviously seen chaos in a society, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like actual chaos. People just shoot into buildings and no one arrests them. Mm-hmm. You spent your life around that stuff. Those societies don't ask questions like, what are men for? You know what I mean? Right. And we're, of course, moving closer to that. And all of this, all of our silliest manifestations, the trans craziness or feminism or other just revolts against nature, are only possible because we live in this nerf world of affluence. But as that starts to change, and it is changing, then the upside of that, we're going to get poorer and the society will become more dangerous, but we'll also be a little more rooted in reality. In the same way that rich people are insufferable, not all, but a lot of rich people are insufferable because they're detached from reality, from nature, from God, from the things that are real, and they convince themselves, because they can fly from point to point without going through TSA, that they have infinite power, and they don't, and that's why they're so hard to have dinner with. But a normal society doesn't have these problems. It has all kinds of other problems, but doesn't have the American problems of I'm a 40-year-old unmarried Citibank executive, I'll just get a surrogate. It's like, okay. Or the suicide rate. There's not a lot of suicide in, impoverished countries, because the mission is really clear: eat. There's not a lot of crisis of meaning in Burundi. You know what I mean?
It's a fight for the day.
Yeah, it's a fight for the day. Well, it's a trade-off. I would much rather live in a DoorDash society because I like comfort and ease and everything, but it is a trade-off, and you trade comfort for meaning. That's just kind of what we've done, and we shouldn't be surprised by it.
What do you think happens, honestly? If this, do you think this is actually is this gonna come out?
Yep.
Or has it all been shredded? Mark Epstein said this is...
No, of course. We don't have the JFK files.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you ask, why don't we? who is being protected here. There are no living stakeholders in that story. There's no living participant in that murder conspiracy. It was a conspiracy. We know that. So who were the participants in that conspiracy? Well, no one's still alive. So who could we possibly be protecting by not releasing all those files? And that's a pretty short list of suspects. So I think we kind of know what that is, at least in part. I don't know the details. I know some, but I think it's pretty obvious. Same with Epstein. It's pretty clear who some of the players were. They were governments, the U.S. government involved, British government involved, Israeli government involved at various levels. The guy lived a fairly long life. He died in his mid-60s. He was pretty active in government work, arms trading, for example, from a young age, from his late 20s, I think, when he left Bear Stearns. He got into that business with Robert Maxwell. You don't trade arms by yourself. You do it on behalf of governments and with the assistance of governments. Obviously, you've been around this, you know. So from that age, from say 30 to 65-ish when he died, so 35 years, he's intersecting with governments. It's not just the Israelis. I mean, the Israelis were definitely involved. Ehud Barak is living at his house. I mean, okay. And we have a lot of his emails that prove that, and I'm not defending the Israeli government, which is hard to defend, but I'm just trying to tell the truth, which is it's not just the Israelis, okay? It's us, it's the British, the French. It's the usual players, the intel services that matter in the West and probably others. So that's who's being protected, of course, and then all kinds of other pawns. And so I think one of the main takeaways from that story, about which I know a lot, but not everything, is that the leaders that we believe are leaders, and people are starting to get this, like our elected officials, oh, they have so much power, Senator so-and-so, President, what's his name? You know, like these are the people running our society, are not the people running our society. Of course, they themselves are subject to enormous pressures from, other people and coalitions of people and forces and interests. And like, that's what and the closer you get to them, the more time you spend with the people who are in charge, the more you realize they're not really in charge, or they're only semi in charge.
How does it happen? How does it happen? We talked about this a little bit at breakfast. I don't think everything is transactional as it may seem.
Oh, no.
I think that, and this is from my own experience, and I don't believe I've fallen into any yet, but I think I have come close. I think they set traps, and that doesn't mean there's a hooker in the fucking hotel room that you walk into.
Well, there is sometimes.
Oh, you know what I mean?
There is sometimes.
For somebody that fucking weak,
you'd have to.
That would
and stupid,
great.
By the way.
But, and I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that are that fucking stupid.
Or the porn sites. I'm gonna look up tranny porn on YouPorn. Well, that's not controlled by a foreign intel service. Oh, it is. It is. That actually is true. So, yeah, I mean, there are a million ways that your weaknesses expose you to influence, for sure.
I think they can be very giving, and I think they can be very giving, and it appears that you're being led into a group, and then.
Oh, I'm watching that right now with someone, yes.
And then you're fucking done.
Of course.
But not even realizing it until you're in.
Oh, yes.
And I think I've come close, and I always, like, if I even get a fucking inkling of that happening, I'm like, nope, done, not going, not getting on the jet.
Stay true to that.
Not going there, not going there, not doing it.